you said, I'm not a science advisor or a politician. What I can offer here is just terminological comment. Perhaps because we are dealing here with the concepts of transformation and transformativity and sustainability, it might also be some sort of a...
Could you get closer to the microphone, please?
It could also be something like a wake-up call. Why? Reflection on science is now one formula richer. It's difficult. Transformative science. Not long ago, the descriptions used here were responsible science and citizen science. As responsible science, as it is said, science meets the requirement to ensure the integrity of the research process as well as to follow society's call to solve societal problems. As citizen science, as it is said, science compensates for the purported societal lack of participation in the research process, and now transformative science. In fact, science in a general sense is always transformative. Against itself, any scientific insight also alters scientific knowledge, and against the society, if one thinks of the transformation of theoretical knowledge into practical or application-relevant knowledge. What then is new when we today, mainly in connection with the call for sustainability, talk so strongly about transformative science? Is it a matter of substance, of the rediscovered nature of science, or is it a matter of rhetoric, that is science marketing? Science, so it seems, plays with its nature. Science connects epistemic structures, that is the way science understands the world, with scientific truth, and it connects institutional structures with social reality. Both structures form a complicated unity within science itself, in which the distinction between internal and external elements, for example, internal norms like logical consistency and external norms like applicability, threatens to become blurred. For science is both the particular form of knowledge formation as well as the institutional form of this knowledge formation itself, the university being the paradigm of such a connection. It is the institutional aspect which interests us here, namely the concept of a transformative science by which science is determined by social and environmental objectives. For example, in a proposal for the Cancun Conference on Climate Change in 2010, calling it the Great Transformation, the principle of sustainability, a concept nowadays used in an almost inflationary way, is declared to be a comprehensive program based on a new social contract, which includes science and the university. Under the title Transformative University, with the objectives of a sustainable society, diverse forms of obligation of the university are discussed today. They range mostly on the systems theory background, from a recollection that universities serve not only scientific truth, but also the objectives and aims of a society which recognizes in science an essential basis of its progress, to a direct commissioning of the university according to social objectives, in this case, the realization of a sustainable society. The university, as we know it, not only since Wilhelm von Humboldt, becomes a sustainable university. Its definition runs as follows, quote, The sustainable university is one that, through its guiding ethos, outlook and aspirations, governance, research, curriculum, community links, campus management, monitoring, and modus operandi, seeks explicitly to explore, develop, contribute to, embody, and manifest the kinds of values, concepts, and ideas, challenges, and approaches that are emerging from the growing global sustainability discourse. In this rather vague definition, if it is one at all, the coordination of the system, university, which is part of the system of science among other systems like politics and economy, is succeeded by the subordination of the university to these systems. Reference is to a model in which it is no longer the search for scientific truth and knowledge that determines the pace of the university, but service to society, here with respect to sustainable progress. This task, by the way, can also be found in concepts like a stakeholder university or an entrepreneurial university. Here too, not scientific or academic interests guide the university, but rather social, particularly economic interests. Its self-conception in the old sense is then described in such a way that universities, quote, provide research and teaching in return for public funding at a relatively high degree of institutional autonomy. Under this contract, the universities have been expected to generate fundamental knowledge for society and to train the highly qualified manpower required by an advanced industrial society, unquote. But what is wrong with this description? Certainly not that the university fulfills its obligations towards research and teaching, that it sticks to the image of linear process leading from university research to applied research. Indeed, this image is questionable, but for other reasons than those usually given. It is not the utilization of science and the university for a sustainable university, but this would be a social theoretical argument which speaks against a linear transfer model from basic research to applied research, but this distinction itself, thus a science theoretical or epistemological argument. As a matter of fact, basic research, applied research, and development today form a triangle of research, often mutually supportive in concrete research programs, both in and outside the university. They interlock and intermingle when focusing on a problem. The archaic simplicity in research affairs has to become a complex interlocking of interdependent research orientations. This means that the goals of science, inasmuch as these are expressed by such ideals as truth and knowledge, are more and more joined to the goals of a world that is less inclined to admire than to apply the results of science. Again, this is an inner scientific and also an inner university development, nothing imposed by the society or by a paradigm shift turning the university into a transformative or sustainable university. All the same, it is said that it is society which has started with the transformation of science. With the catchword Mode 2, a fundamental change in the relation between science and society has been described, meaning a shift from reliable knowledge to what is now called socially robust knowledge. It has three aspects. Quote, first, it is valid not only socially robust knowledge, it is valid not only inside but also outside the laboratory. Second, this validity is achieved through involving an extended group of experts, including lay experts. And third, because society has participated in its genesis, Such knowledge is less likely to be contested than that which is merely reliable. At the same time, it is claimed that socially robust knowledge is superior to reliable knowledge. With this, unquote, science and the university are committed to a societal program. Research becomes, if you give me 2 or 3 minutes more, program research and is socially determined. Such a term ignores the fact that autonomy is not an external property of research and that the scientific community does not represent itself as an individual entity which can be controlled from outside. But what might be even more serious, here not only the status of science is changing or is meant to be changed, but also in a highly problematical sense, the concept of science. The new concept, one could say, is the concept of science studies. That is a sociological concept, not the concept of philosophy of science and science itself. As far as the university and its redefinition as transformative, or even more as a sustainable university is concerned, this definition, taken by itself, is rather strange. After all, it is not the transformativity and sustainability of the university that is at stake, but rather its autonomy in research and teaching, as well as its responsibility in dealing with problems which the world offers and with the future of this society. The transformativity and sustainability of the university, if one really wants to talk this way, is ironically endangered only if the university should become obliged to obtain the protection of transformativity and sustainability in the defined sense, and accordingly, if the autonomy were to be restricted. In this situation, I plead for more modesty and sense of proportion. The university does not solve the problems of the modern world, but it certainly can contribute to their solution. In the case of climate research, but also, for instance, in the case of energy and medical research, this is obvious. However, the best way for the university to serve the society is to stick to its core missions: basic research and teaching that is close to it, care of fields and disciplines, training of young scientists, and thereby to develop a strong sense for the solution of practical problems as well. This is the epistemological and, in a way, also moral meaning of a research imperative, which can be formulated as well, as follows. Let yourself be guided by the thirst for the new and the will to know what innermost holds the world together. But remember that it is no lesser goal to hold that world together with what you do in research and development. Whoever follows this imperative, here its meaning as a moral imperative, follows the right track anyway. He holds fast to the strengths of science and the university and does not deliberately put these strengths at risk in favor of always a bit fashionable transformativity and sustainability rhetoric. The strongest critic of science, also in these matters, theory and terminology, is always science itself. Thank you very much.